Hi friends, welcome to the Wild Side. I'm Steve Hall. The less we know about certain species of animals, the more mysterious or forgotten they may seem to be. It's a wise and natural instinct for wildlife to avoid human beings. So if a particular bird is really good at hiding from us, it may take a while before we realize it's possibly in the process of disappearing altogether. Because of graphic visuals in the story, viewer discretion is advised. Black, mask-like markings around the eyes inspire a suitable nickname for this elusive, solitary, and crafty creature, the Batman bird.
Shrikes are super smart birds. You catch them once, you will never, ever catch them again.
And like Bruce Wayne, the eastern loggerhead shrike has a dual identity, one musical and the other fearsome.
So a loggerhead shrike is a predatory songbird.
But even though the bird resembles the Batman, it's typically no bigger than a robin.
People mistake northern mockingbirds for them.
But they actually hunt live prey.
If you talk to some old-time farmers, they call them the butcher bird. And they're known as the butcher bird because they eat meat.
Everything from insects to small mammals like mice and moles and voles.
Grasshoppers, grubs, snakes, skinks, and other songbirds.
They're raptor-like or bird of prey-like in the fact that they will actually capture prey and kill it with their beak.
They also have a habit of impaling their prey on barbed wire or thorns. They do that to mark their territory. They do it as a cache. Like their own refrigerator. I'll put it here and I'll come back to it later. In the case of when they catch grasshoppers, grasshoppers have toxins in them. So by impaling them, it gets rid of the toxins. They can come back and eat them later.
But despite its strength and survival skills, the future of the eastern loggerhead shrike is in jeopardy. Cindy Rutledge and Joe DeGraw are leading the efforts in Tennessee to try and rescue the bird from oblivion. Cindy's a master bird bander and founder of the nonprofit Southeastern Avian Research. She's under contract with TWRA to find, capture, and ban loggerhead shrike in Tennessee.
We've lost 70% of our population of the loggerhead shrike in Tennessee since the 70s. And so that is what this research is about, to figure out what's going on with them. Why is the population crashing? We have pockets of these birds in Tennessee. The biggest population is in Lawrenceburg, down around Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County, and that they are all associated with the Amish that live down there with the traditional farming practices.
Small pockets of birds have also been sighted in Robertson County near Springfield and in Obion County in northwestern Tennessee.
It's very frustrating when you find one of these pockets of shrikes, like in Rutherford County, where one day we had the best success. We banded 4 shrikes in one day, that is like hang the flags, have a party kind of day. And then that land is now a subdivision. So those shrikes are no longer there. So where did it push them? We don't know.
Of course, lost habitat is a leading suspect for the overall decline in the number of birds, along with the threat of pesticides, especially to developing chicks. The birds fly low along roadways, searching for prey, and are often hit by cars. They also face the challenges of migration in a more modern world.
Shrikes are rare in Tennessee.
While Joe has been working with Cindy in the field, he is bird curator for the Nashville Zoo, where he oversees a breeding project initially launched in Canada.
Back in the late 80s, the Canadian government recognized that loggerhead shrikes were critically endangered in Canada. So they began a process of collecting birds out of the wild and set them up for breeding in captivity. And the process would be they would release the young back into the wild to assist with the wild population. Through time, they've expanded the number of facilities that can take part in this process. And we just happen to be the second U.S. facility to be able to acquire breeding pairs of loggerhead shrikes for the purpose of breeding, hatching young, and releasing them back into the wild into eastern Canada.
But the search for shrike continues, with Cindy following up on every possible lead, including a confirmed sighting in Nashville's Percy Warner Park.
Today here at the steeplechase, we have a single bird that has been here a year. So we're out here to see if we can get some bands on this bird so that we can recognize it again when we see it.
Generally, when I pull up in my vehicle, it's visible from the road. Photographed it one afternoon last year.
This is a remote control trap.
Cindy readies the trap with a lively little mouse protected inside a small cage.
This is a working mouse. This is Jersey. She's going on 2 years old. She's a pro at this. All you want her to do is move around inside that little cage so that she works as an attractant more than anything. You could say she's bait, but she won't get hurt. They don't get hurt. She lives the life of luxury at my house, being taken care of. Spoiled mouse.
Once everything is in place, all anyone can do is watch and wait.
What you're going to look for is that black and white and gray bird that is sitting on a high perch. And that's where they're going to sit, and they're going to hunt from there. And then they're going to swoop down to the ground to get their prey.
But more often than not, watching and waiting is how it ends, with no bird to band.
We could stay out here for a few hours looking because we know there's a bird here. And we know he's just hiding somewhere. Either because he ate this morning and he doesn't need to eat again, or because it's too windy, or 100 other reasons. My best success with capture of these birds are finding a nest in the spring and banding the babies before they even leave the nest.
Determined and unwilling to end the day empty-handed, Cindy takes a detour on her way home, driving along a country road in Robertson County, where she knows there are shrikes.
This is amazing shrike territory right here. This is what you want to see. You want to see the barbed wire for them to impale their prey on. You want to see fence rows that aren't highly manicured because this hides their prey. And you want to see high perches. You want to see trees or telephone poles or wires for them to sit up high and hunt from. And then, of course, you have to have this vast acreage. They're hard to find, they're secretive. You can spot one riding down the road, turn around, and never find it again.
Call it a coincidence or a wise decision, but the timing of this detour couldn't have been better.
Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. And we just rode up the road and she was sitting on the fence. And so we pulled over and parked the car right where it was, and then she flew up to the top of that tree and sat up there and watched us. She actually just sat there, which is very unusual. She must have been hungry because usually the minute I get out of the car, they're gone. We got out the trap, we put the mouse in, we loaded it, and we put it on the side of the road here, and we watched. And then she bopped down over here first and made her way across the barbed wire till she got here. She watched it some more. Then she jumped down one, she jumped on the ground, she danced around the trap till she finally went in, and then I hit the button and the door went down, and then all of a sudden we realized, hey, that mouse isn't in that cage. He's running around inside the cage. And the shrike was very interested, and in he went, and we tripped the trigger and we caught the shrike. And then we had to save the mouse, which we did. And then we banded the shrike.
So despite the mouse malfunction, it was a surprising success.
Okay, we just banded this female loggerhead shrike over here on Carter Road in Robertson County. We've been watching her for a while, and now we're just gonna, there are her bands on her legs, and we're just now gonna release her.
Like the Batman movies, the story of the loggerhead shrike has a cliffhanger, but the real-life ending is yet to be written.
In Tennessee, they are listed as in need of management, which is a step just below threatened. However, if we can't figure this out pretty soon, they may have to revisit that and relist that bird.
Well, their value is because they're a living species, and we should work to save every living species. It's just part of the ecosystem. They have a niche. And if that niche disappears, it's kind of like a tumble. You know, something else is going to fall.
The Tennessee team is part of the Loggerhead Shrike Working Group, a collaborative effort across North America to try and rescue this remarkable bird from disappearing forever. We could not have done this story without help from researchers and bird watchers who shared with us video and pictures. Especially want to thank the Nashville Zoo, also Emily Donahue, a PhD student at Arkansas State University, and Philip Rathner, who's retired now but formerly worked for the television show Sesame Street. So he went from big bird to having a fascination with loggerhead shrike. We have more credits at the end of our show and also on our website, wildsidetv.com, where you'll find links to more information about the loggerhead shrike and where you can watch any of our stories and share them with others.
Tennessee's Wild Side has been a presentation of the Jackson Foundation in association with Rockwater TV.